that most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's one of my favorite quotes ever because it's true. You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away. But I think one of the reasons why these people have this deep-seated anger and resentment is there's a bunch of people out there that have these lives that are deeply unsatisfying, because I think there are so many people that are working all day long doing something that is deeply unsatisfying and almost painful.
Yeah, soul killing.
Soul killing.
Yeah.
They're stuck in traffic all day, and then they're stuck in a cubicle after that. They relish the time to take a shit in the bathroom and look at their phone. I mean, they literally do that. That's a highlight of someone's day. They get in traffic on the way home. They get home after that, they're watching television, and they're f***ed. If people have a regular day job, if you could just find one thing that you do as a passion project and just keep building on it, just keep watering it, keep adding fertilizer, keep giving it attention, keep giving it focus, and you can escape. You can escape, and you can be self-serving. You could be okay. You're gonna be okay. Making furniture feels good. If you make furniture for a living, and you feel a great satisfaction out of that, and you sell that furniture, look, man, if you can do that, you could cut those corners perfectly and sand everything down nice and stain it, and then it's done, and you get this satisfaction, and you sell it to someone, and that pays your bills. That is infinitely more satisfying than being stuck in some fucking cubicle working for someone that you don't want to work for, having to have these stupid fucking office meetings, talking to people in human resources, sitting down with your supervisor where they evaluate your job performance, and you're not really, you really need to be enthusiastic about this company. This company is your future. This kind of you're like, fuck, kill me now. There's a lot of people out there that would way rather do something else, and I hope they understand that they can. And people that are trapped in bad situations, one of the problems is you feel like this is your future. You feel like you're fucked and you can't get out of that. There's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no rainbow. And if you feel like that, that alone can be incredibly defining and limiting. But if you look at yourself objectively and say, okay, I kind of am fucked here. I'm in credit card debt. I'm working in a shitty job. I don't like what I'm doing, but I have some ideas. I need to feed those fucking ideas. And I need to feed them and water them, and I need to set aside a certain amount of time every day to just try to make those things happen. You can do that. Everyone has a different personality. They have different interests, different things that they would be really satisfied pursuing. That's not encouraged. What's encouraged is go find a job. What's encouraged is go find some place that you can shove yourself into. Go find a square hole that you can stick your round peg and just jam it in there and shave down the top and the bottom so you slide in with all this extra space on the sides and feel like shit for the rest of your life, because you need a job, because you're in debt, because you have credit cards, because you have student loans, because that's what everybody does. And so you do it too. That's what's wrong. You have an apartment you have to pay for. You have a car you leased. You have a wife that you have to feed. You have a child you have to raise. You have your mortgage. You have your this. You have your that. And that's where it all comes from. Well, the opportunity takes place usually when you're young and you don't have any responsibility. That's when you have your options. Well, your options are severely limited the more you gather responsibilities. Like, if I had to, as a 51-year-old father of 3, married man, pays taxes, has a house and a mortgage and a business and all that jazz. If I had to quit everything now and struggle the way I struggled as a stand-up comedian, it would never work. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous. And most people want to take the safe path. And the safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation. Almost every time. It's hell. It's hell.
But can people just make that change? I mean,
yes,
look,
you can,
I believe they
but
can.
you have to plan it out. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window. And then you have to have a plan. And you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever shit job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you f***ed up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. And whether it is you're trying to be an author, and if you're gonna try to be an author and you're working 8 hours a day plus commuting plus family responsibilities or whatever else you have, whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, God damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You got to go. You got to get after it. And you got to have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something. And to know that the consequences of not doing that are horrific. I think here's an important thing too. Failure is important.
It is important.
I think failure teaches you things that you don't learn from success. I think failure gives you an opportunity for self-examination. It also gives you a feeling that is very uncomfortable. And that very uncomfortable feeling helps you grow. That when you feel like you screw something up, like when I've had bad podcasts, my podcast has always gotten better afterwards. When I've had bad stand-up sets, I've always gotten better after that, because those bad sets motivate you. They give you a perspective like, hey, here's some clear examples of where you f***ed up.
Yeah, what not to do.
Yeah, don't look at these failures as like proof that you suck. Look at them as opportunities for growth. Look at them as opportunities to be motivated to do better. You have to make mistakes. You've been there, you feel it, you understand what it is, and then you have that time to adjust. That's why losing in life is so important. Whether it's getting dumped, getting fired, losing a game, loss. Those feelings where things didn't work out your way, that's important, because it lets you know this is the bad feeling that comes when it goes wrong, and you improve, and then it makes the good feelings of victory all the better. And I mean that, in a relative sense, like even getting good at something. Forget about victory, like making a terrible book that gets rejected by every publisher and then writing a really good one and people accept it and you're like, fuck, I got better. Yes. Like that's feeling.
Interesting, yeah.
Those feelings of failure are really critical for your motivation. You see an old person walking down the street, you go, oh, that person's always been an old person. No, that was a baby. That was a baby that became a 90-year-old man. There's a progression that you're not witness to. You don't see it. And that takes place in everything. It takes place in authors. It takes place in comedians and musicians. There is a starting point, and then with time and focus, and as long as you reevaluate and reassess and constantly objectively look at what you're doing and then pursue it with passion and focus, you get better at things. Don't be scared of failure. I think failure is awesome for you.
So the story's done. Well, the personal shit of it, personal side of it anyways. Who knows where the bodybuilding videos are going to lead to, but guarantee you they're not going to be about my past or my personal life. I posted my last video, I think it was a couple weeks ago. With the simple message. Well, maybe it wasn't simple. None of my videos are told very simply. But always through a manic lens, Not always the easiest thing to interpret. But I think the message was pretty clear that, at the end of the day, my life for the last 30 years could be summed up simply as I was stuck in a job or jobs that were making me miserable, and the consequence of that was horrendous. Cost me people I loved, cost me my sanity, my identity, cost me everything financially, we get trapped in jobs that we don't like, for a variety of reasons, right? Because that's what we're taught, right? Go out, get a job, make good money. That's what it's all about. Well, no one ever tells you, well, make sure you're fucking happy doing that. You know, when I got in the meat trade back in 87, 88, was with A&P, weighing up frozen turkeys. And then that was it. You know, I liked the guys. You know, it was definitely it was different than what I was used to seeing as a kid, right? Everyone seemed to be fuck this, fuck that. Everything was very open. There was like a sense of brotherhood, you know, and they were crazy motherfuckers. And I fit right in because I was a crazy motherfucker too, right? Fit right in with my personality. Of course, way back then, I didn't realize I was bipolar, but, you know, it fit the bill. You know, I was a man of extremes, right? It was a perfect fit, right? It was a perfect fit. So I just never left that business. I went from A&P to Oshawa Foods to Man's Foods. Then I wound up in Loblaws, and up going to school for meat cutting. You know, and then I ended up at Costco. And it's when I ended up at Costco, everything fell apart. And I knew right in the interview, I had made a mistake. Because right off the bat, like when you go to an interview, most of the time you get the sense that they're interviewing you. It was more like I was interviewing them. How's that possible, you ask? Well, it's they didn't fucking know anything. They knew nothing about the meat business and meat industry, nothing. You know, and it didn't take too long working for that company that, you know, it's just like, I made a real big mistake. I made a huge mistake coming here. But then you start lying to yourself. You keep thinking about the money. You keep thinking about the money, and that's what pulls you in, right? It costs your own happiness. And as time goes on, then you start having responsibilities, you know. First wife, she knew work was making me miserable. She knew it was destroying me. Like, I'm not going to get into the details of all the stuff that happened within the company that made me so fucking miserable, because the list would never end. You know, I touched on it throughout the 800 videos, you know, some of the things, but at the end of the day, I got in a position where I was trapped. And the woman I was with at the time didn't have the means to help me get out, even though she knew it was making me miserable. But you know, all I ever heard, this is what I always heard: get off the drugs, get off the drugs, stop drinking, stop being so crazy. No one ever said, it's making you miserable, you need to leave that place, you need to find another job, right? You know, and like I said, initially, you know, it's funny because I initially took the job because I knew it was going to be a good money and secure future, right? But what did end up actually happening, right? I lost everything I earned anyways. You know, I think I fell into a pattern where it's like, yeah, you want me to work here? You want me to come to work every day? Fine. then I'm going to destroy myself. Resentment, a lot of resentment. We're supposed to take care of each other. I'm not happy doing this. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not a putting on the blame on anyone. It was my responsibility. I was accountable for my own happiness. It was no one else's, right? But I'm just telling you probably where my mind was, right? And what makes it really soul killing is when you have certain values and certain beliefs. I had a buddy of mine not too long ago who doesn't believe that he should be asking. He was a manager at this. I'm not going to say what the business was, but he was a manager. He didn't believe that he should be asking people to have their backs to come to the business. So he fucking quit. He fucking quit. Fuck you. I don't believe in that. It's making me unhappy. I fucking quit. I sent him a message, of course, on the phone, wishing him all my support and love and a shit ton of respect, But that's, you're. I lost my place. Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Job's making you miserable, and you're trying to hang on to some sense of yourself and try not to succumb to your breaking your values or any of your morals. So you're trying to play this game, this very dangerous game with your soul, and you could lose all your money and the people you love through this process. But what I found out was I completely lost myself. Not because of the drugs or the mental illness. I became something else because I stayed in that business. And that was the toughest part, right? Because now that you're no longer in that business, you're left with this shell of yourself. Like, who the fuck am I? I'm this now? Okay, well, what do I do? Oh, I know exactly what I do, because this is the type of person I am. This is what I'm going to do, right? So you continue the same path, because now you've become this thing. And this thing is miserable and full of hate. And you're going to be drawn to your next job that allows you to be that person. And that's what's what happened to me, right? Quote unquote muscle for hire. And then the light bulb finally goes off, and you're just like, I can't be this person anymore. It wasn't like, oh, I can't handle this mental illness anymore. Oh, I can't handle being a drug addict anymore. Oh, I can't handle being an alcoholic anymore. It was like, who the fuck was I when I was 18? When looking everything back, like, let's see if we can find that guy again. What was that guy at 18 thinking about? What was the dreams of that 18-year-old? What was his aspirations? Of course, besides fucking getting laid, because 18-year-olds, that's all they think about is getting laid, right? And driving driving home from out west, dude. It was like, it's impossible. There's no... I've done too much. I've come too far. There isn't just no way to change what I become, what I became. And it all started from being in a job that I didn't like. Actually, like is a soft word. Like, I fucking hated going to work. I fucking hated it. I can stress how much I hated it. And bodybuilding's always been in my life since I was a kid. But something always threw me off track. Something always threw me off track. Even when I was Loblaws, you know, in the early days. Well, of course, my first memory of bodybuilding was Joe Weider's Bodybuilding Encyclopedia. It was like a package, you know, like this book and charts and stuff. It was like in 1983. You know, and I always went back to it, and like I said, I could never stick with it, right? Like, even when I got really sick when I was off, probably 2013, just a couple years before I was let go. I figured it out. I had figured it out. But given that situation at that time, I just couldn't pursue it. A lot of reasons. But that stuck with me. It stuck with me. You know, I even remember saying in one of my past videos, you know, I was actually trying to think, when was I, since, you know, like, it couldn't have been all bad since I started with Costco in 96. There must have been some points in my life where I was really happy. You know, there must have been some points in there. And a lot of those, the two of those times was when I was actually into bodybuilding, really into bodybuilding. You know, 1998, me and my first wife were really into, like, we actually had a gym in our house, like fucking serious fucking gym. You know, I think we spent almost $10,000 on it. You know, and then again in 2008, you know, working out made me happy, but I just couldn't sustain it. I wouldn't make it a priority over everything else. My job always came before that. You know? Came before your happiness, your own happiness. Because you got bills, and you got this, you got that. I ended up losing it all anyways. So what was the fucking point? Right? There was no point. There was no point putting myself through that for 30 years. You know, in Joe Rogan's narrative speech in the beginning of my videos, there's one thing they forget to mention is You know, you have to plan for your escape. You have to, if you're in a shitty job, you know, and you want to follow your passion, you have to plan for it, you know. But what you fail to say is it's going to be a hell of a lot more than that. It's going to be, you have to take a pretty good look at who you are now, you know. And that was probably one of my biggest challenges. The job became who I was. Like, that's what it was. This character, this turbo, this number one. You know, there was no Scott outside of work and Scott at work. It was the same guy. You know, living the same story, living the same craziness. There wasn't a separation. There wasn't a home life and a work life. You know, that was the hardest part. Was, well, this person doesn't know how to do anything else. I could have, and the thing is, and that was it. And I had the money. Like, there was many opportunities where I had my window financially to pursue another career. But I was stuck in this character that completely forgot what he was passionate about. Yeah, it's just... Yeah, back, there's a lot of things that could have been done. There was definitely some points of no return that I remember going through. You know, I've learned to let it all go now. You know, I'm fine with everything. And it took a long fucking time, though. You know, long fucking time. The saddest part was me and my second wife. It just seems like we forgot to take care of each other. You know, and that's the sad part. That's the sad part. Well, maybe that's not even a fair statement. Maybe we did. Just not in the ways that we needed to do it for each other. You know? No, it's not fair. Not fair at all. It was just so hard to... I remember, like, thinking so many times, just no fucking escape out of here. Like, I don't think... I couldn't tell you how many times I'd probably do something unconsciously so crazy I was hoping to get fired, right? But they wouldn't fire me. Because even though I would subconsciously want to be fired, the politician and the fighter in me, you know, didn't want to give up, didn't want to quit. Wanted to win at any cost. Because the mindset would have been, well, if I don't win, if I quit, it's all for nothing, right? That would have been a pretty fucking big pill to swallow. You know? My boss now, he asked me, he says, are you happy? Are you happy here at work? I'm like, well, I'm still here, aren't I? He goes, what do you mean? Well, if I wasn't happy, I'd fucking quit. He goes, what do you mean you quit? Well, yeah, I'd just quit. I'd find something else. Right? You know, see, I can do that. You cannot. You're trapped. I am not. I refuse to be ever trapped again. And that is like drilled right into me. Like, I have no problem walking away from fucking anything that makes me unhappy. It's just the way it is now. That might come back to bite me in the ass someday, maybe. But I'm working on it. I'm aware of certain things. You know, the funny thing was how the funny thing is it just took so long to realize it's all it was. It was just a job I hated to go to every day. It took so long to realize that. It's fucking craziness when you think about it, you know? Oh, it's my mental illness. It's my drug use. It's this, it's that. Instead of the fucking obvious, right? Right in front of my nose. Now this isn't me bashing Costco. It wasn't for me, you know. That's not an environment that I could be happy in. I know a lot of people that work there are fucking pretty happy. Well, I would think they seem pretty happy, you know, but definitely not as miserable as me. And if they were, they certainly didn't show it. That's why it's so important to do what you love doing. Because I tell you right fucking now, okay? When I left there, I was taking home, I think it was $3,200 a month. I think I was taking home, 15, yeah, pretty close to $3,200 a month net. Now I take home probably $2,200. I'm so much more happy. Like, I'm so, you know, I think you guys get my point. It's just, wake up with a smile, go to bed with a smile. You know, it's just, no amount of money is worth being miserable over. It's just fucking not. I don't care what job you are doing. But like you say, you know, it's fucking tough. It's not an easy transition to do, especially if your identity is based around that job. You know, if you've been doing that for so long, it's your routine, in and out. It becomes habit. It becomes pattern. It becomes ingrained in your personality. You know, you start taking on these character traits that fit that environment. You know that. You know. Like I said, you know, my boss has asked me about my retirement. I said, I don't give a fuck. All I want is my next 30 years to be fucking joyful. That's it. That's all I care about. Whether I'm alone or not. You know, fucking waking up in the morning, fucking dreading going to work. I just, you know, fuck. I remember that feeling all too well. And you hear it. Oh, fuck, I want to go to work. Like, I fucking love going to work. Me, I'm like, yeah, right on, let's work. Let's make a couple of bucks, you know, and shoot the shit, make fun of my boss, have some laughs, you know. It's not really there's no really a negative thought through that process from the time I show up to the time I leave. Of course, you know, I have hard days. I don't have bad days, but I have hard days. You know? And people try and find that joy that they're not experiencing on their job through other means, right? Drugs, alcohol, material bullshit. And they just can't see it. There's no fucking honor in that. Well, I have to do it for my kids. I have to sacrifice for my kids. I have to sacrifice my own happiness for my kids. No, you fucking don't. Because you know what? You're miserable. You don't think that's going to bleed all over your fucking kids and your wife? What do you think your kid's going to remember? You know, when he's 30 years old. What do you think he or she would have rather have? You know, a father or mother being happy in the household, not fucking arguing, not being pissed off. You know, showing that love and affection onto the kids. You know, they having the energy to play with them, and you know, as opposed to, oh, my dad's fucking hammered because he hates his fucking job. They fucking argue. They want fucking sex. You know, they just give me this stupid fucking iPad to fucking, you know, like, I think a child would much rather have a fucking happy relationship with their parents than, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just not fucking work. It's just fucking a shitty job that you fucking hate going everything. It fucking bleeds into fucking everything. Everything. Yeah, so your kids might not have the little extras for a little while, or you might have to sell your house, or you might not have to, your retirement pushes back. But god damn it, man, when you're, you know, I've had to get myself to this point. I've had, like, serious financial hardships and sacrifices to get to this point. You know? Sure, that came with some negative feelings, but it's a different, like, you know there's going to be change. You know, I just got to stay on this path. I know, you could see, okay, once I can establish this, I'm going to be that much happier. When you're working for a job that's making you fucking miserable, there is no, there is nothing there. It's just miserable. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There is no joy until you're 65 working for them, right? I wonder how much that affects so many relationships out there. I remember being at work and everyone's just bitching and complaining about their job or their department or their fucking husband. Like, it's just fucking, it was just toxic. It was all just toxic. Fuck, you know, I imagine offices are like that too. It's like, oh, it's so not worth it. It's so not worth it. You know? Fuck. So I'm going to start at video number 1. And I'm going to, well, actually, the first chapter is only on YouTube, but after that, then I'm gonna go through the whole thing. I'm gonna watch every video. I'm gonna watch read every post I've made. You know, I'm gonna go through it all. I had to stop writing. You know, I've talked about my videos that had some ideas for a book that kind of reflected my life and that, because there's a lot of things that I didn't disclose in my videos. There's certain aspects of my life that I didn't disclose. I was going to save it for the writing. The fucking writing writing's not hard. It's coming very naturally to me. Yes, it would fuck my shit up. I think I talked about this before. So I had to stop, and I don't think I'm gonna continue to do that again. Maybe if I'm in a position in my life to do that, maybe I will. I'll explore that idea, but no, it's too encompassing. It's too emotional. It's honestly, it's just too much to fucking manage. You know, excuse me, and my routine gets really fucked up by it. So I look at the cost benefits here, and it's not worth doing. It's not worth doing, at least not at this point in my life. So that idea is kind of taking a back seat. Trying to figure out a way to surmise everything. Just everything takes so much, takes a lot out of you, takes a lot of effort, and the lifestyle I'm living now, I just don't have fucking time. I have it's funny, the company I work for. I was talking to their daughter. She's in grade 11. And I was asking her if she's figured out what she wants to do for the rest of her life. What a decision. Can you imagine that? You have to make a decision at that age for something that's going to make you miserable or happy for the rest of your life. Like, talk about the most important decision you ever have to make. At a time when your brain's not even developed yet. Fully developed, I mean. You have no life experience, and you're supposed to make that decision. So, of course, if you choose money, the money route, you're going to be fucking miserable. Because you don't even know exactly who you are. That's why it's so important. You know what? Just do what you love doing. Do what you're interested in, what you're passionate about. You know? At least that way there's no regrets. Because you were happy pursuing your dream or your goal. You know? And I got sidetracked. Yeah, so I asked her if she knew what she was going to study in college and university or whatever. She said psychology. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. So the company I work for is a family business. So I'm gonna ask her in a few years from now if she's still studying that. I'm gonna ask her to take a look at what I accomplished in my journey. I'm not sure. Like, I've heard the term thesis before. I know it's like this. It's like this paper you have to write. A very large paper, maybe defending a point or proving a point, or I'm not exactly sure how that's what that's all about. But I'm definitely going to mention it to her. Being it's someone who I know, it'll be. I'll present her the idea because I'd really like. There's as much as I did find light into the tunnel and I did come out of this successful. I still have a few questions. On some of the things that happened, you know. But yeah, so I'm going to ask her maybe to take a look at that. Maybe for my own narcissistic self, I don't know, even for my own ego or my own, I don't know, I think you guys get my point. It'd be cool to hear a perspective from a professional, you know, what they thought. You know, was I right? Based on everything, maybe was there something I could have done better? Was it the way I did it the only way? I was talking to an old friend. We'll call her a friend. Called me out of the blue the other day, and talking about stuff that happened in the past, and it's just on the phone. I'm like, fuck, I can't do this. There's just too much to communicate. It's just too much to communicate. I don't even know where to fucking start. So it'd be nice to just, if someone ever asked me a question, just like, yeah, just watch that video, or just, it'd be nice, because I'm fucking, to be honest, I'm tired of talking about it. I've moved past mostly all of it, but it'd be nice to have some way to summarize everything that happened. Like, I don't think, of course, I'm going to watch everything through, just for my own, get myself a clear perspective. But it'd be nice to have something tangible that I can pass on, or even watch myself. Like, almost like a, I don't know if case, it's like just a summary of just, someone says, well, how are you, I haven't seen you in years. How are things? Oh, here you go. Watch this. This is how I've been. Something like that. Because there's a lot of fucking material to go over. Like I said, it's close to 800 videos, and I don't know how much writing and posts, and there's been a lot. There's been a lot. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a professional's perspective on everything. It's not that I'm against psychologists and psychiatrists and medication. It's not that I'm against going that route. It's just I never had good experiences doing that. Knowing what I know now, I know a lot of things that were said to me were wrong. There was no trust there. And maybe a big part of it is my stubbornness to understand things. Well, just do this. Well, why? Why do you want me to do that? What's that gonna solve? Well, no. This is the way you have to do it. Like, for example, like you can only come see us once a week for an hour. Well, why can't I come see you for 8 hours? Why can't I book a whole day? Why can't I do that? Well, like, don't tell me what I can and can't do. Like, if I'm telling you that cocaine is helping me put pieces together, why are you telling me to stop using cocaine? It's, like, whatever, you get the gist, But I tell you what's really interesting too is, I take my my life. I'm 1 in 7 billion. And I think it was quite the unique journey. But when you think about the big picture and everyone out there, it's just like, holy fuck, I can only imagine what some people's stories are. Stories that we'll never know about, they'll never relate to, never understand. Simply because it just, it would have been nice, if I came across someone who did what I did on social media. And the way I presented it, I wish I could have came across something like that. I was so passionate about it too, eh? That's the thing. It helped get me through a lot of stuff too. Just the idea of telling the story. It was a reason to wake up every day. Oh. Well, one thing's for sure, I definitely hit my goal. I had this idea of where I wanted to be in life. I don't mean financially, I mean just from a personality standpoint, from a joyful standpoint, just, from a soul standpoint. I wanted to be able to say, I accomplished my goal by 50. It was like a month over, because after my 50th birthday, I still had a couple things I needed to end and finish and deal with, and I did that. But it's going to be interesting, going over everything now and reliving all of it. I'm gonna just do it on my spare time. Every time on Facebook, you'll have those memories that pop out that you can post a memory, and I'll see a memory come up, and I look at the video, I'm like, holy fuck. You can just see that person is so different than the one sitting in front of you now. Like, it's just, I can tell, and some of those are pretty hard to watch. So I'm really looking forward to going through everything. Like I said, I wish I had the mental capacity or the skills to write some kind of like thesis or summary of everything, but anyways, okay, that's kind of it. I just wanted to say a little something. Kind of, I don't say end this. I'm never gonna say it's really over, but we said that a few times, right? How many times we say that, but I just don't see another direction to go with this. I was gonna do a chapter called The Finish Line that kind of focused on, new career ideas and strategies, and, my wants, material shit, it's not me. It's not who I am. I figured maybe I would have this alter ego that, that could do that. Yeah, sure. At one time, alter egos and character playing, role playing, served a purpose. Helped sort out a lot of shit and get goals done. But I don't want to be anyone else right now. I'm happy being the way I am right now. I don't want to take my mind anywhere where it's not going to make me happy. Not even for the sake of the story. Because that was kind of the thought. Well, let's keep this going. Let's pretend we're going to be this thing. Let's become this character. All flashy and just I had a whole kind of a idea, but it just doesn't interest me. It doesn't interest me. It's like even. Like, I love fucking bodybuilding, and I don't know what that's going to take me to, but, like, even the videos, it's just... There's days I'm kind of in the mood to do it, like, I like keeping track of my milestones, but that's finite. That's going to come to an end real soon, right? You know, I got the world strict record, you know, 2x4 thing. Pro record, I mean. But it just feels, I don't know, I'm not passionate about doing videos anymore. I don't know. And I think it's because it was purpose that I was always driving me, right? It was purpose to get well, to figure this shit out. Well, I got bodybuilding pretty much figured out. You know, like there's passion to work out and do well and be successful in bodybuilding, but there's no passion to really to share that with the world. Like like maybe some aspects, but just this part of my daily routine to do videos and okay, now today we do incline presses. We're gonna do 5 sets of 5, and this is what you want to make sure you have the bench at a 30-degree angle, and just going through this fucking I don't know, you know, it's not really me, you know. I'm just so happy that I can live the life that I'm loving, and it's just there's no bullshit, you know. I just don't want to throw any bullshit on top of it. If anything comes into my life or anything that I pursue, you know, it's not going to be covered in shit, and it's not going to be have dollar signs baiting me, or you know, that kind of a thing, you know. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing videos and I enjoy reaching my goals, but it's just I think hopefully you fucking know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. Till see you guys again. Take care of yourself, take care of each other. Well, bless you all. Maybe you won't.